Professor, what's that?
Luke, my boy, it's another episode of The Game Hunter.
Game Hunter, what is that?
Well, it's an internet series about video game collecting.
Video game collecting? What's there to know?
Well, quite a lot, I'm afraid.
Well, then what's this episode about?
This episode focuses on game condition, which I would say would be quite useful for the aspiring collector. Thank you very much for that introduction, Professor. Today's episode is about game condition, and it was actually suggested to me by a fan of the series, so thank you very much for that suggestion, and let's get right into it. So if you've been watching the series, you know the very first episode was about games being new, used, and complete. So that is the first thing that we will talk about in terms of condition. Obviously, a new game is the best way to go to ensure you have everything ready to go and in perfect order. This game is still sealed. Unless it's pirated, there's literally no way it's missing anything or anything is scratched. So if you're looking for flawlessness, always go with new. Complete is what I look for my game collection, and when I look for a game, I make sure I have the game case, the game itself, and the manual. And the better condition for everything, the more likely I am to buy it. So this version of the game right here, flawless case, great manual. The disc I don't think was ever played. This is a great quality game. Now there are some titles that I'll pick up that I don't usually buy. Here's a copy for the NES of Super Mario Bros. 2. It's missing some things in it, but the case looked really good and I think it's a nice display game. This game would be incomplete because it's missing some of the inserts inside the game box, but this is another version of a game with different quality. Even less so than that, I very rarely will buy a game that is missing everything, just the game disc, but I wanted to try this one because it was a good price. And lastly, we would have games or game cases, memorabilia, what have you, that is actually damaged. So the most common one would be a broken case, which you'll see later on in the video, and let's get right into it. So here we have a brand new factory sealed copy of No More Heroes 2 for the Wii. You can see it's still wrapped in the original factory sealed packaging. Everything should be perfect. This is the best way to make sure that your copy of the game comes with everything to make it complete and of perfect condition. Here we have Point Blank 3, a good example of a complete game. So looking at the front cover, the case isn't scratched. You can see the manual is intact and in nice shape. We open it up and we can see that the game disc and the back art are also in great shape. If we pop the disc out, you can look at the back and see everything is clear. There are no scratches. This is a good quality, complete game. Here we have a copy of Super Mario Bros. 2 for the NES. It's still in the box, which is a great find, but if we look inside, we can actually see that all that's in there is the game and the instruction manual. It's missing some of the other materials. So this would be considered a incomplete game, but it's still in good shape. Here we have an incomplete and loose copy of Torneko: The Last Hope for the PlayStation 1. Obviously, this is not the original case it came with. It doesn't come with the original manual either. When we open it up, we can also see that the game disc itself on the front looks good, but on the back, I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, there's actually quite a few scratches on there. This will definitely lower the quality and price of the game. So collectors will see this and they'll know this isn't the greatest quality of the game, it's missing all of its stuff. In terms of price, this game is not as expensive as the complete version, and because it's scratched, it might not work, and also it's not going to be as pricey because it's not in good condition. Now, while the Torneko game was actually damaged, this is the more common thing that you'll find, is that the case or the exterior is actually damaged. So if we zoom in here, you can see that this case is cracked right in the middle. No damage to the game, but this will lower the value because this is a Saturn case. They're much harder to find. And more common than this happening are the edges on the very top here. These actually get cracked off too, so the game, when you open it, the case will actually just kind of fall apart. Not as detrimental, of course, as the disc itself being damaged, but this is something to look out for. Many collectors will want to have games in flawless condition, so if you have a cracked case, unfortunately, your quality and price have gone down. The best way to protect your games when they're loose from damage is to put them in a case. So when you buy, say, these DS games just by themselves, grab something like this, a case, to make sure that they don't get damaged any further. You don't have any other materials for them, so value what you have. Put this game in a case to make sure it stays protected. So there you have it, the ins and out of game condition. Hopefully you picked up on a few things to look for, scratches, quality of the game case, things like that, and now you know when you're out and about what to find when you're searching for your type of game that you are willing to buy. Alright, that does it for this episode of The Game Hunter. As always, thank you for listening and watching. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to write them in the section below, and be sure to check out my blog for more about game collecting, tips, articles, and reviews. And until next time, I actually think we have another word from our guests. Another puzzle solved.
Professor, I think I've got it. Game collecting is much harder than I thought.
Luke, my boy, you're on the road to being a professional in no time.